Oameni buni, este o onoare pentru mine astăzi la Magic Live. O să înregistrăm un interviu atât de atipic că o să-mi fie drag să-l văd și de peste 10 ani. Tot timpul e ceva de lucru, tot timpul e ceva de învățat. Aș vrea să vă mulțumesc tuturor celor care v-ați abonat la canal, să trimiteți linkul ăsta și femeilor din viețile voastre, prietenelor și vecinelor voastre, pentru că e despre mintea feminină. Invitata mea de astăzi este Caroline Welch, este una dintre cele mai respectate femei din zona de psihologie, psihiatrie, psihoterapie. A citit și a scris despre prezența conștientă. Acest ghid multifuncțional de wellness pentru femei este pe pagina de psihologie. Eu acolo am găsit cartea asta. Caroline Welch este cea care o să încerce să ne ajute pe noi, pe femeile, nu doar din România, pentru că interviul evident e în engleză, dar va fi subtitrat. Așadar, doamna asta care știe atât de multe despre creiere, dar mai ales despre creierul feminin, despre ce înseamnă mindfulness pentru femei, abia aștept să vorbim despre asta. I did a long introduction, sorry for that, but for people who doesn't know you, I'd rather understand why I'm so excited and so honored to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me, for giving me 1 hour of your life. I would rather start with a, I don't know, maybe predictable question. Are the men brain different than the women?
This is a difficult question. And I think I would have to answer it just from my own personal experience, because it's not an area of study for me. But I could answer it by saying that I do believe there are certainly aspects in how we approach life and how we can, for example, multitask or not, and certain skills that we may have that in general you may not find in men. But I'm very reluctant to make very clear boundaries or clear lines, because I think that within each of us there is for example, for myself as a woman, I identify as a woman, cisgender woman, and I believe that I have many traits, if you will, or proclivities that would perhaps be more likely identified as male.
Okay, so it's not about the brain, it's about the mind.
Well, I feel it's more about mind and behavior and socialization, but also it's how we are perhaps wired from birth in part as well. It's a combination.
Okay, so women have a different mind. It's probably because the hormones maybe, or what it's connected with a women mind.
I believe that, yes, as you suggest, hormones and biological, but also I think it's important to consider the societies and the cultural groups that we are exposed to and how we are informed by all of that. It's relatively difficult to tease out what is the most responsible. But I can give you an example.
Yes,
I mean, I think in my experience as a corporate litigator, which, as you may know, representing companies in trade secrets cases or in general intellectual property matters, many of them for Japanese clients, because I had the opportunity to live in Japan before I went to law school. And so what I could observe there is that if, for example, I was assertive in a given case or something, which you actually want for a litigator, but I might be perceived as bossy or aggressive. But my male colleague may be more likely perceived as very persuasive. So I think that we get different messages. It might even be the same behaviors, but it gets a different label depending upon whether one is male, female, and I have to be also very mindful that many people or people also like to identify as they. So I want to just be inclusive in the conversation.
You know, I don't know if you saw, but going on streets in Bucharest, you for sure saw people, maybe, I don't know if it's sad, but very preoccupied. It's not because the weather. It's because we look like we are carrying burdens. And I'm sure women carry more burdens than men, at least in our society. And in this book might help the women to carry and to be well and to find a well status. What's the most important think a woman should start doing yesterday for their well-being?
That's such a great question.
Thank you.
To the extent that we can, if I had to say one.
Okay, you can make a list.
Suggestion.
You're entitled
I can
to
make a list. Okay,
yes, please.
perfect.
Thank
That
you.
gives me some freedom.
Okay.
But I would put at the top of the list to treat ourselves as our best friend. If you think about your best friend, you're probably pretty thoughtful with your best friend and pretty kind. And what I found in I interviewed 100 women for my book, all different ages from 16 to 90 and from many different countries, many different professions or non-professions. And what I could distill is that we're very hard on ourselves.
Exactly.
We're very critical. We are very interested in doing everything that we do very well. And now that we are able to have our careers and be parents if we choose, and we're still caregivers, of course, in many realms, we know that women are caregiving for not only their own elderly parents, but if they should be so fortunate as to have grandparents in their lives, but they also often, it is women who are caring for the in-laws as well.
Correct.
So I think trying to be mindful about being kind to ourselves and having self or inner compassion, this is very important.
But you can start this during the night. I mean, just like that. What's the small step you have to do? Watch, search, look at you, discover yourself. Because, for example, I'm a very critical person with myself. I'm never satisfied with what I do, the radio show. It could be better. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I wish to be less harsh than I am. Is this changeable? Can I work on it?
Yes. You can change it right now.
Okay.
You
How?
can change it right now. You can start with, for example, you mentioned a radio show. You can start with something we call the 3 W's. What went well? And then think
What went well? I'll go.
3 W's. What went well? And
Bine. Great.
just think, okay, the show, we started on time. I really enjoyed my guest. I was very prepared for my guest. Okay, and you list 3, just 3. And eventually, we use this sometimes in meetings as well. You get around to what didn't go so well because we learn from that.
Exactly.
But at least you have started with a foundation of positivity and you can feel good about what you have and you can build on it. So you may have read some work, for example, by Rick Hansen, a psychologist, and he talks about the negative brain and how we very likely as humans go to the negative side. But if you can take that millisecond to stop yourself when you're about to go down that rabbit hole and just think, wait, what went well? The 3 W's, what were they in that case? That could change the tone.
Are 3 W's in every action you do, whatever good or bad? Because, when it's something really hard for you, you hardly can see the well. Right, you only suffer when you lose something, when you are mistaking things, when you are, in that position you don't want to be. How can you find the well in that situation? What is the lesson?
For that, I have to take us to presence. And a synonym for that is mindful awareness or mindfulness. And in a nutshell, if I could say what mindfulness can provide for us, it is the building the capacity or cultivating the capacity to deal with whatever comes our way. So over time, if we build our practice, we can have a different approach to things. Clearly, we can't change world events. We can't change how something unfolded for us, what other people do or say to us. But we have an opportunity every time something is arriving in front of us to take a millisecond, just a millisecond, put a little buffer between how we might react and make a response. We have the power. We can take control of that.
That millisecond.
That millisecond.
It changes everything.
It changes everything. It
Yeah.
sets the tone.
Yeah, the tone makes the music, makes the scandal, correct.
Yes.
So I will take this as a, homework to try to find that millisecond. How do you start in your mind this practice? Because you mentioned that once you do practice your mindfulness, what's the first step? And what's the main thing you have to do? What do you do, for example, for your well-being?
Yeah. There are many questions in one.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
But I appreciate that because I can see that you're familiar with my work and that you're a very curious and insightful.
I don't fake it. I need it. I need it. I think that's what I said at the beginning of the interview. This should be seen and re-seen and underlined and re-seen because there are many things we learn from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, to break down your question, I guess I would start with, say you want to talk to someone about starting a meditation practice. Mm-hmm. And in my book, I talk about at the beginning, the important thing is who, what, when, where, and why. And the who would be you, and you when you're ready. Some people think, oh my God, my life is so terrible right now. I think I need to start a meditation practice. Well, that might not be the best time. Maybe if you start when you're more fortified or not in the middle of a crisis, then you have a better chance of creating something that can be sustained. Mm-hmm. And then the what part, there are many different types of mindful awareness practices. There is yoga, if you are fully aware when you're in your yoga practice or some other kind of qigong or other practices that we can fully embody. And the other thing I want to add that I always remind the participants and students that I work with is that the informal moments of being present are as important as the formal.
Okay, example?
So for example, when we're sitting here talking to each other, our devices are away, we're fully present. This is creating a state for us of being fully present. Okay. And that state can become a trait, which can change our baseline way of being. So it just makes us feel more calm. So the idea is that we're trying to inhabit as many moments as possible. So back to then, what we might do if yoga is your thing, or if you like walking, you can have a walking meditation. If you are someone who can sit and just make your breath your focus, or perhaps you can sit out in nature, and that is a beautiful way to have a practice because the sensory experiences can bring us into the moment with relative ease. You can just sit and, for example, be attuned to whatever comes. Maybe it's bird song. Maybe it's human sound. Whatever it is, just taking, whether it's 1 minute, 10 minutes, all of this will contribute to creating this state, a state of calm. So the meditation is quite the same. It looks like praying. It has any connection with praying? Because for example, pray. Right. The prayer, if you have made your intention to pray and you're focusing on your prayers. Focus is the word. The focus is the key. Exactly. And we don't want to confuse relaxing with meditation. And it is sometimes confused. Correct. Or mind wandering. I mean, I think it's good for our minds to wander, like especially if you're a writer or you're a creative, it's nice to go out and just see what comes. And that's mind wandering. That's not a focused paying attention to what's going on in the present moment without judgment, which is a kind of a formalized way of thinking about meditation. Okay. So the definition is inner calm, inner thinking about what's coming. That's the short explanation of meditation, is it? Yeah, I would say that it's the paying of attention and focusing on your breath or on sounds or whatever you make the object of your attention. If there's a beautiful glass of water here, you could decide, okay, I'm going to focus on that. Whatever you decide, but then you stay with it. And inevitably, of course,
all the thoughts will come.
They will start coming, right? Because our mind is wandering.
Exactly.
So half of our time.
Shopping list, what did the kid? Well,
that's right. It easily jumps to so many things. So the magic here is in realizing, oh, I went to my to-do list just now. And the moment you can say to yourself, I'm not focusing on my breath anymore, you've repaired the break in your focus. So there are very few things in life that we can repair instantly. But this is one of them. As soon as you realize that your thoughts are intruding, which they naturally will do, and you bring yourself back to your breath or back to the bird song or whatever whatever you're focusing on, then you're back in a state of mindful awareness.
So that's a very good exercise you can do. Try now. If you can.
Do it right now.
We can do it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Shall we do it right now?
Yes, please.
We'll just take 30 seconds.
Okay.
20 seconds. Okay. So we'll just get comfortable wherever you are. And for those of us who are listening to us, you may be seated, or if you prefer, you can lay down and just take your position in your seat and just take a moment to settle in and just feel your feet on the floor. Feel where your seat is touching the cushion. And if it's comfortable for you, you may close your eyes or you may avert your eyes and just look down at a spot in front of you and just fully arrive in this moment. And if it's comfortable, you may focus on your breath and just take a breath in and a breath out. You may want to count. You may want to count to 3 on your in-breath. And then on your exhale, make your exhale as long as you can. So you may count to 6, 7, 8, whatever that number is. The number is not important. The key is that you're just coming fully into this space and you are breathing in and breathing out. So just do that a couple more times at your own pace. And if you hear any sounds, you might hear some tapping nearby or some other leaves rustling around you. Whatever is in your environment, consider those touchstones. They're not ruining this moment for you. They're actually bringing you into this present moment. So after you take another breath, and when you're ready, just slowly, if you've chosen to close your eyes, just slowly open your eyes and come back into the space around you.
This kind of meditation, it's a breathe in, breathe out exercise. It helps every time you out of control. Yeah. Is this, kind of perfect medicine you have in your brain, in your body? It can be used every time. What do you do when, for example, you're in a hurry or you're in a fight or you're in a situation you have to justify something? How much it helps this kind of exercise, the breathing exercise?
In those moments when we are stressed, annoyed, frustrated, angry, exhausted, that's exactly when this is the most powerful. And it requires what I mentioned a moment ago, which is just having the capacity to do it, to remember, oh, wait, let me just take a millisecond and collect myself and take that breath. And the other thing I would add here, especially when we're in a situation that's quite challenging, sometimes we forget that we're not on a train in that moment. I can say, I need a moment. There's no problem. we have in those moments often the power to simply stop the pace and to step away and just own what is happening and say, I need a moment. That's okay. We respect that. And then you come back a more resilient or more of your better self, your best self.
Let's get back to the book. I have so many things I want to know. Women do a lot of jobs.
Right.
Some of them have their own job, paid, more or less, doesn't matter. Their mother, their partners, their daughters, their granddaughters, they have a lot of things to do. And sometimes they don't have time for themselves.
Right.
Because the day you became mom, everything changes. The kid is on top, then are 10 spots free, and then comes the rest of the family, the job, and everything else. How do you do the correct list? What it means to have a good mind in order to do all these things without being a burden?
That is such a good question, and thank you for that, because I think it's a nice bridge into what I lay out in my book, which is called the 3 Ps. Mm-hmm. And using presence or mindful awareness, which we've now explored a little bit, as our foundation. From that, what I wanted to provide to busy women is a practical, clear look at what mindfulness can look like in their busy lives. So the first thing is purpose. Like, what gets you up in the morning? What am I doing this for? Why am I running to work? Why am I taking care of my child? If your purpose is, for example, to be an open, accepting, caring parent, then having that purpose can power you through some of the most difficult days. Because we all have challenges with any situation we're in. But if we can go back up to the purpose, the 30,000-foot view, and say, wait a minute, what am I doing here? It can give you that space you need to be fortified and go ahead with a little bit more strength in whatever that situation is. And the second thing that is...
there are 3 Ps.
3 Ps, exactly.
First,
so we have purpose, and the second one is pivoting. And pivoting, we have I was thinking when I used pivoting, we humans don't like change. We like routines and we like things to remain the same, but sometimes it behooves us to have what I call proactive pivoting. Like, you, ahead of having to make a change, you make a change. Mostly we wait for things to visit us when we change. Like, there's a medical crisis, or in COVID, we were all pivoting. But that's kind of a crisis pivoting. We were dealing with the situation, but we had to, right? Mm-hmm. But the proactive pivoting I'm talking about comes out of our ability to know what our purpose is and to mindfully figure out whether or not a given action is working for us, or a given job, or a given style of parenting. So to have that ability to change if we need to. And the point of the pivoting is, since change can be so daunting for us, it's very assuring to know that I have an anchor. Because if you watch a basketball game, for example, or any game in which, a sports game I'm thinking, in which you keep one foot anchored and then you kind of swivel a little bit, that's the idea. It's like, yes, I am going to try a new parenting technique, but I already have in place a very good relationship with my child.
So one foot is already
One
blocked.
foot is set, exactly. Or you can apply this. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
No, you are just moving the other one because you have one very stable.
Exactly. That's exactly the image that I think can help us in these times of change. And I will also offer here for those in different careers, maybe you're just feeling a little unsettled in your career, or the whatever, pick a topic. Many of the women that I interviewed had been in business or finance. Then ultimately they made their way to other areas that provided more purpose for them. And so these are proactive pivots. rather than wait, for example, for themselves to be so disengaged in their work, or maybe their company would move to another city, or whatever the things might be that would more in a crisis cause us to look for a new position or a new way of working, they could proactively start their research to make a change in their lives. And the other piece, and I'll bring us back to the 3 W's here, because sometimes when you want to make a change, we say throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't want to do that. I know that's a terrible expression, but if we look at what went well, wait, in my current position, I like it because I work with people. I don't have to travel. Whatever those things are, there are always things that we like about a job.
Yeah.
So when it comes to, say, proactive pivoting in your career, well, don't forget all of the good things that you have, and then you're adding whatever you're adding.
That's not mindfulness, because any person who doesn't know this will think about the negative things.
That's right.
Don't want to go there because I don't like it. I'm not well paid. I don't know, the colleagues, the boss is too bossy, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But we all the time see the things that are not working instead of 3 W's.
That's right. And to move then to the third P, which is pacing. And pacing is so important for us because we all have chapters or stages of our lives. And if you're like me, you want to go full speed ahead on everything. And that often happens for us as women, because it happens that our childbearing years and our early career years and our early marriage years and our maybe caregiving years, they are all coming together at one time in one 7 to 10 year period or 12-year period. And if we can just realize that our lives are a series of sprints, it may not, and that it's a marathon and it's for the long haul. And we
are running all the time.
We are running all the time. And many of us will have 2, 3, 4 careers. And if we can just take a breath and think about, how would I advise my friend in this situation where I'm trying to do so many things, and be our own best friend and figure out what chapter of life am I in? What does pacing look for me right now? If I have, for example, as I did in my law career, at one point when I was a corporate litigator, as you can imagine, representing Japanese clients living in Los Angeles, I was flying to Japan a lot, and I was pretty much working 7 days a week. And at a critical point, I'm like, wait, my kids are young. This is really my time not to be working that much. I don't want to stop working.
And what did you do?
I was going to say retired. I didn't retire. I probably will never retire.
Of course.
Dan and I call it...
a pity if you do.
It would be a pity.
Yeah.
We call it not retirement, but preferment. And get to the point where we do what we want to do within our work, which is what actually the stage that we're in now. For example, being here in Bucharest, we love this. This is so much, enjoyment and fulfillment for us to come. And
thank you.
And I'm so thrilled that my book is in Romanian, and this is an example of our preferment. But
let's get back to the P. You said pacing.
Let's get back to the pacing, right?
Pacing.
So what I decided at that point in my life when I was working so hard as a corporate litigator, wait, I have to make more space for my family life. And so once I resigned from my corporate litigation job, then a call came in from my friend who said, you know what, we have a new TV show, a reality show, and I'm not really sure if we need a lawyer for this show, but we might. And would you please go to Sunset Gower in Hollywood and be there on the set next week? And I said, okay. And I went to that stage that day, or the set, and I met Judy Scheinland, and fast forward now more than 30 years, many of us are aware of Judge Judy.
Of course.
And this was in the time at the time when the show was just, we're not sure, and is it, what will it be?
You worked for Judge Judy?
Yes. Once I left corporate litigation and I had been working 7 days a week, I had the fun and privilege and honor of working with Judge Judy when she was first starting her TV show. Exactly.
Great.
And I was her production attorney on the set. And the beauty, not only the great reward of working alongside of her, because she has a beautiful legal mind and also happens to be a very interesting...
She's not a judge. She's an actress?
No, she is a judge.
She's a judge.
In fact, she was...
I thought all the time that she's playing a role.
Oh, no, she let me say she was a judge when
Really?
she was interviewed by 60 Minutes.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that interview.
Oh, okay. Well, this is many years ago, but
Okay.
I'm just saying that she was discovered, if you will, because she was very efficient at clearing her docket. She was a judge in New York, and so 60 Minutes was interviewing her. And then I, as I understand how it went, a couple of producers saw the potential in what she was saying and thought about a reality legal TV show. So ultimately, she resigned as a judge, and
She became a TV star.
a TV personality.
Okay,
Exactly.
great.
But she is a judge, and the cases that she was litigating on that show were pulled from small claims courts across the United States.
So you said about 3 things, and I'm doing my homework. I'm taking lessons for myself, classes.
Yeah.
So whatever bad thing happens, find the 3 W's. Whatever happens,
Yes.
find always the 3 W. What went well?
What went well?
When you are in a position of being stressed, being disliked in a situation, strong and bad one, imagine and use the 3 P's. You said purpose, pivoting, and pacing. Pacing means giving yourself breaks, and that's status that gives you a bit of energy from being calm. Is it correct?
Correct. That is exactly right. Pacing applies to pacing this hour you have, this half day, this day, taking time for lunch, taking, maybe you take a phone call walking. Maybe you stand up and walk every hour if you have a desk job, or if, just to get or go outside, be in nature when you can. Pace yourself through the day. It's not like you can just catch up, if you will, and say, oh, I'll do that all later. No, these the minute, the 30 seconds, the 5 minutes we take can really come back to make us feel much better and fortified for the whole day if we sprinkle it in. So that's one pacing, that physically managing your time.
So you need more time to pace it than 1, hour late when you arrive home.
Right.
You need more time. You need small.
Yeah.
Pacing time.
Right.
Yeah.
And start small. We want anyone who's thinking about making a change, we want to set ourselves up for success. So just give yourself a break.
All the time in my life is in emotion. I finished the radio job. While I'm driving, I'm listening things or talking on the phone. I'm doing my second job. I'm asking questions. I'm following the guests. I'm doing a lot of things. And then back to work in my car, which is a walking office.
Yeah.
So I don't think I have this moment. I don't think I have them. Not even at home. When I'm home, I'm, the caregiver. I'm the one who cleans the house. I have a daughter who's almost 20. There are things all over. So I'm switching the roles in a way. But I don't know if it's about me. Maybe some of the ladies watching us are finding themselves in this position. I don't know if I have daily this pacing moment. Maybe in the weekend, 10 minutes or something, which is wrong.
Well, to that I would say, no one will give you the time.
Correct.
The only person who will give you the time
is you.
Definitely. And however you manage to steal that time, if you will, from yourself, because you believe that is the most important moment, so that you can do all the other things that you will do and you have to do. And I know sometimes I have this discussion or debate with myself, and I say, oh, today I am so busy, I don't even have time to meditate. Then I say to myself, wait, Then on a day when I think I'm too busy to meditate, I really need to take time. And so I have a daily practice, and if I'm catching a plane, for example, I'll have to get up a little earlier and take my time to meditate. And I always feel when I do that time comes back to me because I feel calmer all day.
So you do this meditation in the morning?
The morning. But this is kind of getting back to, we had started talking about, well, what about the person who's interested in a practice but doesn't have one? And a part of it, I mentioned who, what, when, where, why. Well, the when part, all of us have a propensities for being a morning person, afternoon person, evening person. So pick your time. Like if you get up in the morning, you have lots of energy, that's probably your time to meditate. That's when I meditate. And it's also when I do my physical workouts, because then nothing interferes. If I wait till the evening, there'll be lots of things going on.
So you're making sports daily? You're moving your body every day?
I'm moving every day, something, either biking, yoga, Pilates, strength training with weights, HIIT training, high
Daily?
Daily. I mean, I am just mobile. And I like to have a little something every day to move my body. And I mean, when it comes to a serious workout, of course, I'm resting 1 or 2 days a week.
Did you do this when you were extremely, I don't know, because busy, like having a job or two, or did you find ways and time to do these things? Because this, you mentioned, that helps you with your mindfulness.
Right.
You need a plan for that. You have
plan.
to stick that plan. If
That's
you don't stick to that plan, la revedere. It's bye-bye. Okay, so let's do the plan. For me,
Yes,
I'm a person who's not, okay, I'll listen to a lot of music. Sometimes I move myself in the studio. I'm running in my house, in the garden and all over, but it's not much. So I have to start practicing any kind of sport or activity, physics activity. Today.
Yeah, great. First we could ask, well, what do you like? Are you tennis? Are you walking?
Walking I like.
Walking. And then another piece of this, when it comes to really making this, because the last thing you need is a to-do, another to-do. So we want to staple this activity to something that you're already doing. So maybe sometimes you meet a friend and you sit for coffee. What if you decide to have a walking meeting, your walking date? And the beauty also of connecting whatever sport you're doing or walking with another person is accountability. Oh, I have to meet my friend at 2:00. Then that's in your calendar. It's not, oh, if I have time, I'll call my friend and we'll walk. No. It's in your calendar like a real meeting. And the same thing you can book in your calendar for yourself. It's like, oh, at 2:00 today, I'm out for 10 minutes. Oh, okay. You'll be surprised. No one will say, you can't do that. No, you do
say
it.
To yourself,
you say,
okay, I'll do it
it
later. Of course.
Right. Once you convince yourself and you stick with it. And then the other thing is, if you do decide to do a morning activity, that's a commitment you make for every day. It's not that you get up in the morning and you say, shall I walk today? Oh, it's raining. I don't think so. No, you get up and you go. You don't have that conversation. You just do it.
Skip it.
You skip the conversation and do it. By the time you debate...
Let's get back to the plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
The plan for you. Yes.
For me, yeah.
For you. We're building your plan.
I'm here.
We're building your plan.
Yes.
Okay, so it sounds like you would walk. And it sounds like you might walk with a friend.
Or listen to music
yourself.
Running, maybe.
Exactly. So that's it. That's it. So you just make the commitment. And maybe, like, we're trying to make plans that we can really adhere to. Maybe it's twice a week or 3 times a week. Start like that. Or on the day when you're doing something, if you have something you always have to do a given morning, well, it wouldn't be that morning. It would be the other morning. So
the thing is, while you are practicing whatever activity you do, don't ruminate. Think.
Right.
Think, because when I run, if I don't have music, or when I walk, I all the time think about things I have to do, or things didn't went well, or I don't know what a situation I have. And that's not good. Tell me, what should I do with my mind while I do these things?
Here's what I would suggest. And again, we like to start slow, but let's say you're running. Make your intention or your focus, perhaps feeling the wind on your face. Or if it's raining, feeling the rain. Or if it's cold, feeling the cold. Or if there are a lot of birds or a lot of noise, just see, I don't mean noise, but like whatever those sounds are, just be focusing on that. And then, of course, your mind will go to the busy day you have, or what happened last night, or what you're going to make for dinner. All of that will come in. Or maybe someone in your life is sick and you have to visit them, this sort of thing. But just bring it back. Bring it back to the rain, the wind, the trees, the smells, whatever you decided.
So find something and get an intention
Yes.
to feel that.
That's right.
To feel,
Right.
not to avoid.
Not to avoid.
Because we all the time cover ourselves. We don't want rain. We don't want cold. We
Right.
don't want birds. We don't know anything.
Right, exactly. Yeah, welcome it.
It's wrong.
You welcome it.
You're welcome. Okay.
You welcome it.
Good.
Everything is welcome. There's a beautiful poem called The Guest House, and it talks about we welcome whatever comes in a given day.
Okay, so wake up, do any kind of activity, enjoy something, make an intention to enjoy something, and don't forget it's not a to-do list.
Right.
It's a situation, a state of mind you have to find and keep.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
go on. And
Yes, and not a to-do list, the point being that we have enough to-dos, right? And
Correct.
we want to just attach it to something that we're already doing or that we know we can do regularly. Yes.
what's the next step? When you are doing this, okay, you finish the morning walk, it's 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, whatever. You finished. And then you get back to your to-do list. You have plenty of things to do. You never stop. Or when you stop, you eat in a car or you eat somewhere talking to someone or on a phone, on speaker. Nobody knows that you're eating, or because this is the speed of life we are having. What do you think? I'm sure you know, it's not think. What are the main things to do in order to not to fall when you're home? Because you are sometimes falling. You're over.
To crash.
Yeah.
I think we'll all crash sometimes because we do have very busy, engaged lives. And we used to think that we had to get rid of all stress. And now
we cannot.
We cannot. And we understand now that there is good stress. And that's
What's the good stress?
the good stress is the
haven't
energy and the fulfillment that we get from being so fully engaged. You have exciting interviews, you're very much learning, you're curious, and this fires you. And this can fuel you. And so the thing that we want to avoid is the bad stress where we do go too far. Like even though you're exhausted, you push yourself and you work another 2 hours. Well, let's go back to what you would say to your best friend. You'd say, you know what? That can wait till tomorrow. Is it really an emergency? And just think about what you would say to someone else.
We don't treat ourselves like our good friend. I mean, I don't treat. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have if I have good friends because doing so many things, I have friends, but I don't know if I call, all of them are answering, but I don't know which one is my best. All of them. I love them. Whatever.
Well, I would say something about friends too, because one thing I looked into was the power of friendships. And there's a beautiful book by Bonnie Ware, who was a palliative nurse, and she wrote a book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Oh. And one of the regrets is I didn't keep up with my friends. And I think about that a lot because I think that especially when we are really in the trenches, as I mentioned, in our careers and raising families and all the things that we're called upon to do, it's easy to let the friends go by the side. We're just too busy. But to the best of our ability, if we can continue those friendships, and of course it might be, this is another thing where pacing comes in. It's like if you look at your day and you say, oh, today was all about work. Well, that's okay. I mean, some days are going to be all about work. If you have a position and a career that is really engaging, then you can't, perhaps you can't exercise, be a great mom, get the work done, go on a business trip. That's not going to happen. So we have to, again, be our friend and look at, well, how does my week look? How does my month look? And just give yourself the break of looking at the longer landscape and how you're going to pace yourself over that. So you know, for example, for 2 days, you're going to be working really hard. But after that, you'll have more time. And you'll be sure that you go out for your walk, or you'll go jogging, or you'll eat your lunch for 10 minutes in, a quiet place, not in a table, not in your car.
In a car.
And by the way, I have a friend who visits me, and when she, there's nothing like having an out-of-town friend come and get dipped into your life. And then a good friend will make observations,
Correct.
Constructive observations. And one of my friends, and I think she wouldn't mind because she is a dear friend. Her name is Anya. And she, like me, is very efficient, but she did call me out for the fact that I sometimes take my lunch in a paper plate in my car.
See?
And
I'm not the only one.
No, you're not the only one. And so, and I don't like to do that, but some days I'm just running and I do that. But at least we're aware of it.
Yeah.
And we can try to reduce the number of times we do that. And back to what I was saying about the pacing part, just give yourself the gift of enough time. Look at a span of maybe you need even a year to look at your life and see how your priorities are and if you're meeting the purpose that you have set out for yourself.
Now I want to skip from being a person who's doing the job very well to being a mother, because it's parent dad very soon. And this is also a full-time job. Even if you're busy doing your job, if the kids or the adolescents or the teenager has a situation, you stop being engaged in whatever, and you have to be mother. How do you manage to be a good mother when you are in very strange situations, like being, hired somewhere and you have to go out? Oh, my kid has a situation. Or how do you manage to retreat yourself in a way? Because there is no time in being mother, or we tend to control everything. We call this protection. When it stops the protection and starts the control. There are many questions. Sorry, again. Let's get back to...
Can you say more about that? Protection versus
controlling the kid.
I see. Okay, finding that happy medium, where you're there for the support, but you're not hovering like a helicopter parent.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's difficult. That is difficult. I think, however, your child gives you messages, and if you follow their lead, you will know. And they, for example, I'm just thinking about the example when I'd been away on a business trip and I was so looking forward to coming home, and our son was about 5 or 6 at that time. So my whole plan was I'm going to take him to the park and do all of these great things, which that's one of our favorite activities. But when I got back, he was just using his pencil in the newsprint pad, making beautiful sketches. And that's what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go to the park. So I gave him his space. And then and I went back. We
tend to make plans and to do what the adult knows because he or she knows better.
That's right. Sometimes we have a master plan and it's not their plan. And so in those, it comes back to, do I have that millisecond, that little buffer between me and what's happening so that I can be my best self?
Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Speaking of motherhood now, there are different stages. When the kid is young, he's all the time right next to you. The mother is probably the most important person in the world until I don't know what age, but it is.
Yes.
It depends on the kid.
Yes.
And then suddenly the community, school, kindergarten, whatever, starts to be more important. And then how do you manage to do things they don't want you to do without hurting them? For example, I had a situation when my daughter was younger. She was hiding some things because she knew that she had a friend I didn't like. So she was hiding. She was in her room. She was sometimes locking her there, talking on the phone with that. And I wanted that to stop, or at least to make her understand that. I didn't know how to do it, and I probably did a bit of pushing. And I don't know, if it's good. How do you manage to do the bad things? Because kids are watching this like a bad thing, like interfering. You know what I'm asking? How do you do that in a way to keep the connection, not to lose the connection with your kid?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the connection, because in the end, what we want, no matter the age of our kids,
to be connected
is to be connected, right? So we keep the relationship front and center. And then the second piece, I think, is what's going on. So in this case, if it's a conversation with a friend, I mean, there may be certain rules that you have in the house. I mean, no, I don't know, no locked doors or...
No, we don't have that.
You don't have that. But really, it's more the point about a behavior or a friend that you were not approving of.
And the situation could be even longer. I have a good friend whose son, who's in the 6th grade, is started to smoke. And he's hiding this. Of course he's hiding.
Yeah.
He doesn't have money to buy cigarettes, but all the gang has.
Yeah.
There's a corner shop where they are selling this. I don't know why. It's not this the issue. The thing is, how do you make him or she, or, the situation could be even thousands of situations like this. How do you do this without losing the kid, without giving him or her the impression that you are the boss?
I can only speak from my own experience.
Correct.
Because this is not, I'm not a licensed therapist or working with kids professionally. But in the case of my experience and in observing friends, it's not easy, but I always tried to have a conversation with my son or daughter. And it gets trickier as they enter adolescence. Because there is this thought, for example, if you want to take smoking and you want to discourage smoking, of course, for health reasons. And if you lay out all of the, health risks, the teenagers in a position where they think they are omnipotent. So you can talk to them about risk or going too fast on a bicycle or driving too fast, but they believe the danger or the harm will not come to them. So that's what we're kind of facing.
Something wrong can't happen to them.
Exactly. So it helps to understand what developmental stage they're in, and then to just have a conversation and just to be that voice for them, but to realize that it takes a lot of patience because they're in a different space. They're coming at it with this omnipotence. And in the case of a younger, I don't know how old your daughter was when she had a friend whom you...
I don't know, something 10, 11.
10, 11, yeah. I think there's also that... letting things kind of unfold. I mean, I think if we come on too strong, then it becomes like a challenge for them, a game with us. If you have already made clear that you're not approving of someone. And it could be whatever your reasons are for not approving of that person, certain traits you observed, they may, let's just say it may naturally unfold that in that friendship, things will happen with that person. Traits, whatever concerns you had, whatever you saw will unfold in a way that your daughter can come to her own conclusion that this is not...
So you cannot put in their mind your ideas. You cannot... You have to let them find exactly the right conclusion. You have to help them going there.
Yes, you have to, I think, and parents have different approaches. I mean, some parents will be more assertive and that's their style. And it also depends upon how the child will respond to that. But ideally, you can make known as parents, we'd at least like to be able to register our thoughts, but then maybe you just leave it and see how that relationship unfolds. Because it could be the more you resist it, the more, then it's harder for your daughter to make her own decision that someone is maybe not the best friend for her. It could become easier for her to realize that if you've made known, but then you let it go. Okay. You gave her the freedom, is what I'm trying to say, to decide, because really you won't be beside her always. And what we really want to do as soon as we can is get them to make their own solutions to things and sort out for themselves who is a good friend for me.
And now, because you were together with Dr. Siegel for a long time, I want to hear the secrets of coupling.
The secrets? Well,
what do you do? What, there are I have lots of couple around me who split, who decided to divorce or to stay away for a period or time for, I don't know. It's something, might be, I don't know, the planets be doing this, but I think it's, after all, pride, lots of pride. People are very proud, all of them, the men. And how do you find the solution to solve a situation, a strong situation in a couple? What are the main ideas?
There are many main ideas, I think.
I know.
And the first thing I think to say about a strong relationship is that it is a growing relationship and that it is one in which each person continues to be intrigued by the other. Intrigued, curious, and learning about the other person. And if you think about how complex we are as humans, I mean, I'm still learning about myself and I'm still learning about Dan. And this over time can only get better and better because there are more surprises. It's like, oh, I didn't know that.
But the people don't do that.
This sort of thing.
Whenever they marry.
Right.
Okay, I got you with all the good and the bads. That's it.
Right.
I'm not interested in, because I know you, because I have you, because you're here.
Right.
Because you're used with that person. So.
That's right. So this gets back to being aware of what we have and being grateful for it and treasuring it and not taking it for granted for sure. And I think one of the things that has made my relationship with Dan so strong is that we're both committed to the relationship and we both realize relationships take maintenance. It's not like you fall in love and it's going to be
forever
like that forever.
Never.
I mean, we're in love and more deeply in love, but you have a lot of phases or chapters in your life and you have a lot of challenges. I mean, having two careers as many of us do, or raising children together, or facing illness together, or facing job setbacks together. All of these things come to us and we, as a couple, figure them out and grow.
But you're doing all of this together. Not it's your job.
Right.
This is my job, and we speak tonight on the table about what you did. You are doing all together. It was this a settled. I mean, did you decide this at the beginning of your relationship with Dr. Siegel, or you discovered it while you developed the relationship?
Let me understand your question. Can you rephrase it?
When you decide to do, because you speak a little. Very much about togetherness.
Okay, got it.
People today have their own career, their own situation. She's raising the child. He's getting the money. He has an evening with the boys or 2 evenings with the boys. She's doing I don't know what. The together is only in the afternoon and in the morning. So you did everything together, you and...
Oh, no. Okay. I want to make sure you don't have that impression. I think even now, even though Dan and I work together in the same company and space, we have very different roles. And when I was practicing law, of course, that took me out every day. And Dan had his psychiatry practice, and he was at UCLA for many years. And we always had our separate roles. And then we came together in the evenings or, on weekends. But it's important, I think, that each person is a whole person and has their own interests, their own friends. I mean, imagine you're familiar with the work of Esther Perel.
Of course.
One of the things that she points out to us is that we used to live in villages where villages provided a lot of, different sorts of, fulfilled a lot of different needs for people. But now somehow we have this idea that I have to find my person, and my person will be everything for me forever. And I think that Dan and I both have other aspects or other relationships in our lives that provide the support aside from what we support to the other.
So you feed your relationship with other relations and with the energy of other things.
Energy of other things, and we realize that, and we give each other a lot of freedom. I mean, just in terms of if. Dan, for example, most recently he was he got an opportunity to run a lecture on a river and have a river trip and combine that with his new work in personality patterns. And I'm like, that's great. Go do that. And he, in turn, has been very supportive of me. And a few moments ago when I mentioned, for example, my move from corporate litigation to Judge Judy, well, that move, he was very supportive during that. I mean, he could see how hard I was working, and he'd say, when are you coming home tonight? And I'd say, I don't know. No idea. I mean, I might leave at 7 or 8 in the morning and come back at 8 or 9 at night because the days would be so hectic. And so kind of we realized together this isn't working for our family as a unit. And one of the things I wanted to add about that when I went to in the end to the Judge Judy show was that on my time commitment at that work was just basically about 6 days a month.
It wasn't long. It was 5 days, 10.
It was like a dream. Because if you told me when I was litigating and in the trenches that I was going to find a job that would really allow me to have
6 days a week, or 5 days.
And I'm not even talking about a week. I'm talking about a month. Because when she would come to Los Angeles to tape cases, we would work 2 or 3 days in a week, and then in between there would be work to do in prep or in the documents we had or something, but not intensively. And this was even before work from home. But I would be able to do that on my own and then go to the studio. But back to encouraging women to make changes proactively, you just can't imagine sometimes what wonderful thing might be out there. If you had told me you leave this job and now you're going to work 6 or 8 days a month, I'd be like, impossible. So I just want to encourage that. But what I'm saying, back to the idea in a couple, that you each have the freedom to pursue those things that are important to you, and you encourage each other. And I think that's really important. And you continue to be proud of who the other is becoming.
You are lucky because both of you are working in the same field. You understand exactly. Dr. Siegel also understands very well this need. And what do you do with someone who has no connection? Men don't tend to read. They don't want to grow the way we do. I mean, women are reading more. They are trying to do their best. They find the good in everything. Men are not exactly like this. What do you do when the people are totally separated? I mean, they have nothing in connection besides the morning and the evening, and sometimes one day in a weekend. How could you do you call him or her? Do you keep the relation warm? Like, I don't know, speaking about whatever? Because I saw this. Couples that are not working are the couples that are not spending time together.
That's right. They've lost the way to communicate and to enjoy each other.
Exactly.
So I think the first thing may be to go back to wherever they started. What was it that they loved in the beginning? What do they enjoy? What did they enjoy? And how much of that is happening now?
Can you keep it? I don't know, if something happened 20 years before, nothing is like that time.
Right. But now it's like, okay, now we have other things maybe that we can do. And what is it? And you have to work at that, and you have to figure out what that would be. But I think that, and you mentioned that we're in the same field, so it's a little easier perhaps, but I would say that we have the same struggles everyone has. It's important, I think, to continue to face the challenges and work with them. And for me, since I'd had my own law practice for so long, it was quite a challenge to all of a sudden be in the same company as Dan. And even though my job was quite different, I was responsible for the legal business side of, for example, the online courses that we had. And Dan was responsible for creating the content. So it's very clear who's in which lane. So it's almost, you could say, a bigger challenge when you're working together, because I'm not someone who aspired to have a mom and pop store. I like my track and my space. So that I would say the more key thing is, what do we do together for fun? Where is the humor? Where's the joy? Where do we laugh at ourselves and with each other? So that's
as the time passes, we lose this.
Yeah.
It's probably the routine, probably I don't know if it's about me, it's about many couples. The year are not making the relationship funner. So we have to get back to that.
Right.
How?
I would go and find out with curiosity. Ask your partner, hey, what did you do today that's fun? Or what would you like to do Saturday that would be fun? Just start with like really basic questions. Or
Busy
maybe
people want to sit and watch a TV series.
Okay, maybe that's what it'll be. Watching a new show together. Or going to a movie. Or maybe there's an event in your community. Or maybe there's a dinner. Or maybe this sort of thing. Would that be fun or not? And sometimes, people have different gauges for social things as well. Like some people get drained by those engagements and others are, excited and energized. So you have to figure out together as a couple. Another thing I know that there is research that shows couples who, for example, travel with another couple. That can be fun, just to mix it up.
What do you do when you have kids and they are running all over? They don't, while you have kids, you have no one to leave them with. The couple is suffering all the time. I mean, you are mom and dad all the time. You are not husband and wife or partners.
I think something that Dan and I did even when the kids were young is we had a date night.
You did?
We had a date night. And I think, and it's not easy because, of course, we were working too. And then to your point about, well, who's going to take care of the kids? And you have to be resourceful. I mean, as you know, when you have kids, maybe the first line, which was the person, maybe you are fortunate and you could have, the help of someone with the kids. Or maybe you have family living nearby. Maybe you have neighbors. Maybe you have girlfriends who have kids the same age. I mean, I remember the first time that I left, one of the first times I left Alex alone as a baby, I had a baby group, and I asked my girlfriend if she would keep Alex for 2 hours while I went to my office to visit my colleagues. I was still on maternity leave, but I was just very keen to take a little break. So and then we had sort of a system where I would help her, she would help me.
We don't have that kind of system.
So we have to get kind of creative in that,
Okay.
Because
so find an evening together.
An evening together, yes.
At least one.
At least one, and that's sacred. That doesn't change no matter. It doesn't get double.
Can you start doing this even if your relationship is old? Can you start whenever?
Yes, especially then. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe you figure out, I mean, some people like to cook together. Some people like to go out.
But without kids, without guests, without anything. Just
the two of you. Yeah. And get curious. Curiosity is so important.
Okay.
And humor. And then remember back. Maybe you look at pictures. Maybe, I don't know what it'll be, but just remember back. What did I love about that guy or that woman?
Okay.
What was it?
Why are people so easy leaving things? They want to buy new things. We don't repair, not even relationships. We don't repair, not even people. We think that life is full of alone, available women or men, and it's not. What do you think about this? Why are we? Because our mind is changed. When I was a kid, my mom used to repair everything. We are now throwing to the garbage everything, including relationship, because we can build up a new one. What do you think?
I think we live in a very fast-paced society, and that's all around us.
Correct.
And I think our attention spans are getting shorter, and we want immediate results. And we want things to work. And if they don't, it's easier, faster to throw them away. But I think this is part of a larger problem. I mean, if you start looking at the state of our planet or all the waste that we have and the recycling that we should do but don't do, all of this is connected and interconnected. And I think it's true. I mean, I grew up on a working dairy farm, so we had to repair equipment or find solutions. We didn't go into town to buy or replace. But that's not, now we have such an economy or an opportunity to easily grab the next thing and not worry about what we're discarding.
What you do when it's speaking about people.
And people, exactly. This is where we come back to the maintenance, to understand there is a side of relationships, whether they're work relationships or personal, that requires that we pay attention to them. And we continue to harvest and continue to fertilize, if you will, to keep them vital.
We stop doing this because of the routine mainly.
Yeah.
We think that, okay, it's there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't need anything. It did. What a woman can do, because you are expert on mindfulness for women. What a woman can do in order, you mentioned the first, let's say, law. It's not a rule, it's a law. Caroline Welch mentioned at number 1, treat yourself like your best friend. If you don't have a best friend, try to treat yourself like you were doing with the dearest person next to you. Is it? Something like that, yeah.
That is the key takeaway.
Okay.
And
then?
Number 1, treat yourself like your best friend.
Good.
And number 2, you deserve it. You deserve it. I think many of us are raised to give and look out for others, which is very important.
Yeah.
But we can only do that if we have first taken care of ourselves and strengthened ourselves. So that would be very important. Mm-hmm. And the third thing I think is lifelong learning and curiosity, just not to stop. And in our work or with our relationships, just keep learning about what can I do differently, or how would this be for that person? Put yourself in the other's shoes.
Yeah. There's a word I hate. It's called comfort. We don't do that.
Comfort?
Comfort, yeah.
Comfort.
Because of the comfort, we don't do that. We have it. Okay, I'll read tomorrow or maybe next week. Or we don't do things for ourselves daily.
Yes.
We don't pressure. We don't treasure ourselves.
Right.
We are used with. So we have to change this.
Yes, and change it little by little. I mean, I find that, for example, reading a poem every day in the morning.
You do that?
I do it.
Really?
Poems are short.
When did you start?
I started it about 10 years ago, maybe more, 15. I mean, I get a poem a day. There's a service and you can get a poem every day.
Yeah.
And it's free and it's easy. But I'm very inclined to read poetry because poets take time to put those words on paper. And they're so inspirational and it's so quick. And it can stay with you all day.
You're not writing that poem. You are just reading.
I'm just
Somebody
reading.
already wrote.
Somebody wrote it, and I read it. Mm-hmm. Or I read, say, the work of John O'Donohue, who wrote a beautiful book called Anam Cara. And he was an Irish priest, and he was a poet and a philosopher. And he also wrote a book of blessings. And his book is full of blessings. And you just pick something. You pick family, you pick courage, you pick grief, you pick loss, and you can read a quick page or two. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Similarly, I mean, the poetry of Mary Oliver, absolutely amazing. Or
people don't read, don't you think?
Yeah, they in general, we have stopped reading as much as we did. I think it's time, it's quick.
And it's audiobooks and it's anything else. It's the telephone that scrolls and show you a lot of things. So we have to stop that.
Yeah, and I think another thing that can contribute to our being able to read more is to listen to books.
Audiobooks.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. And then that serves the purpose of also keeping us active. So while we're walking or exercising, we can be listening to a podcast or a book.
Mm-hmm. Let's make a list of things to do. It's not a to-do list, but a plan.
Let's make a plan.
For someone who is, for the first time, hearing your name and your voice. You have a brilliant voice. You can work on radio. If you are ever retired, just let me know. Write me a message on Messenger or on Instagram. I will do a regular daily short story with you. Caroline Welch says something about, I don't know, rain, feeling good, mindfulness. I will find...
Perfect. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Great.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Yes, that would be fun.
Now let's start. Let's start with a plan for someone who hasn't ever hear your voice or your work, who doesn't have the book. Speaking of the book, you can get it. Puteți o luați de pe pagina de psihologie.ro. This is the place where I get it. It's written on the last cover. Okay, let's make a plan. 1, you mentioned, treat yourself well like a best friend. 2, you deserve it. Okay.
Correct.
If you don't, you deserve it doesn't mean money now, definitely.
No.
You can buy something for yourself, but you can also do something you deserve it. Okay?
Yes.
Great. 3, you mentioned? Let's do it again. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. And we can add more.
We can
They're
add
not
more,
rigid.
yes.
It's
yes.
not rigid. I think number 3 would be remembering we have a natural resource, a natural resource with us all the time, 24/7.
It's
that
our
we
mind.
can call upon.
It's mind.
It's our mind and our ability to stop what we're doing and take a moment for ourselves.
You said that with millisecond. Can you do it? Can you say it again?
Yeah,
Yes.
the millisecond. Take the millisecond when you can observe, and hopefully we get to a point where we can observe, oh my God, I'm feeling so stressed, so frustrated. Take that millisecond and just kind of recalibrate. And we know that if you breathe in to the count of 3, as we started this today, and you breathe out twice or 3 times as long, that gives a message to your nervous system that you can calm down. Everything's going to be okay. So that's something available to us. I mean, the benefits that we have from this mindful awareness, the practices, if you saw all of those benefits lined up, you'd say, that's a miracle medication I wanted. But in fact, this is the thing that we have within us, this ability, this power.
Whatever stressed is your life, whatever situation, strong, hard, remember to breathe.
That's right.
Take that millisecond. I will tell tomorrow on the radio show about this millisecond. Whatever you tend to do in a hurry, nervous, take a millisecond before anything. That one gives you the strength to understand, to not to react or too much react or overreact.
Right.
Okay. Learn how to breathe.
Learn how to read or enjoy listening to books. Right. I have another one. This is a really good one.
Please.
Every morning when you get up, step outside. Just feel the
Whatever
air.
cold it is.
Whatever cold, just step out and get the air. Go outside. And if you're in a place where you can see the sunrise, or if you're an early riser, look at the sunrise. Just look at the sky, sunrise, and then every evening, catch the sunset.
Wow. What
Dan and
helps you with?
What's that?
Why it's helping this? What's helping?
It's
the sunset?
helping because our connection with nature has been broken.
Correct.
And we don't
A long
talk
time ago.
A long time ago, and we
Correct.
don't talk enough about that. And I just finished a year-long program called Awaken the Wild, and it was led by a teacher named Mark Coleman from Spirit Rock in California, north of San Francisco. But basically, over this year, we learned about and we built our connection with nature and learned what a beautiful portal all of nature presents to us for being present and bringing us into this moment.
So when you wake up, you don't have a balcony, you don't have a garden, you don't have anything. Open the window.
Open your window. We can all get the air. Absolutely.
Okay.
And this is something I learned from John O'Donohue. He said when people would come to him, because of course, when he was a priest, people would come to him with all kinds of things. And his recommendation was always go away for a week and every morning look at the sunrise and every evening look at the sunset and then come back. He's just trying to regulate, give a routine, appreciate nature, be connected.
I want to buy that book, the Blessing book.
Yes,
I love
the Book
it.
of Blessings.
The
It is
Book
a
of Blessings.
beautiful book, and if you're also interested, there's there are books by a poet named David White, and he's wrote a book. He's written many books, but one is called Still Possible, and it's basically has longer poems in it, but it's very easy to dip into his his books and just read something quick.
So, for example, settle and put it in your mind to read daily a page, not more.
Page, not more.
Mm-hmm. Get back to reading. Get back to writing.
Yeah.
Dr. Ziegel told me this, your husband, told me this morning that I have to write what I feel.
Yes.
Keep a journal.
Yes.
Whatever, if you say 3 lines, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's not the amount. It's the meaning. Yeah. It's the thing that you are writing or drawing or do something. Is it?
Yes, exactly. 100%. And what I would recommend, you can get a journal.
Okay.
And it's a 5-year journal. Mm-hmm. Imagine 5 years, and each page has 5 sections on it. So the first year, 2025 now, is up here, and you do the top box, 2025 today, and then tomorrow you go to the top box of the next. And you just jot down something there. That could be your gratitude journal. We know that if you write down 3 things that you're grateful for every day, you have a health benefit from that. So just even that may be your gratitude journal or a little note about what's going on. And the beauty of that is that over time, as you fill it, you can reference back. And then when you come through and fill in the second row on your page, it's like, wow, that was a year ago I was doing whatever. Or I was grateful for whatever. It's amazing.
Now we're waiting for Facebook to remember us what we did last year.
Yeah, exactly. But it'll be written there in your handwriting, and we are often fully present when we're collecting ourselves to write that. And I think it can take you right back to the moment, to those moments. Whether they're ordinary, like today it's raining really hard and my garden got wiped out, or whether it's like my best friend's daughter got married today. We celebrate all of those moments with equal vigor.
I love the word celebrate. I love the word deserve.
Yes, deserve and celebrate. We have to bring those words back into our vocabulary more.
Thank you. Doamnelor, domnilor, deci trebuie să-mi cumpăr cartea binecuvântărilor, trebuie să-mi cumpăr o carte de poezii. No, I'm saying in Romanian what you just said. Trebuie să găsesc un loc în care să scriu, să nu mai aștept de la Facebook să-mi aduc aminte ce am făcut acum 1 an sau acum 7 ani. Trebuie să găsesc ceva bun. What went well? 3 W's. Ce-a fost bine în orice. Sigur e ceva bine. Trebuie să folosesc cele 3 P de la felul în care noi, oamenii, ne referim la situațiile de viață. Parcă toate par mai ușoare atunci când ești bine cu tine. Și lecția pe care o iau astăzi acasă este cea cu fii cea mai bună prietenă ta, adică tratează-te pe tine ca și când ai fi cel mai bun prieten, chiar dacă nu ai cel mai bun prieten, sau poate că sunt mai mulți foarte buni prieteni. Gândește-te ce simți când vorbești cu ei. I was speaking about the best friend thing. I also take this like a homework. Mulțumesc. Thank you very much. Mă găsiți la radio în fiecare dimineață. Caroline Welch este, vă ziceam mai devreme, pe pagina de psihologie. Are you intending to write anything else? A new book?
I'm thinking about it.
You're thinking?
Oh, yes.
Intenționează, se gândește să mai scrie o carte. And you promised, remember? That you promised that one day you'll be live, but unfortunately there's a jackland. When I'm on the radio station, you're sleeping. So
we'll make it work.
We'll make it work. Mulțumesc foarte mult, oameni buni. Suntem de câte ori putem aici, e magia vieții, despre ea vorbim în fiecare zi. Abonați-vă la canal, spuneți-le și prietenilor. Vă mulțumesc tare mult, să ne revedem cu bine.